Check, 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 check. All right, all right, all right. Good evening, everyone. Um, Happy to be here with you tonight. Sorry, I'm starting a little bit later than I said I would, but such is life. Sometimes you just get to it a little bit later than you say you are, but we're here and we are here together looking at price action. So, very intriguing, right? Let's take a look at price action today. Had a really interesting day. I unfortunately had meetings all day, so I couldn't trade it very much. So hopefully y'all got some of that upside action. Um, yeah, I think let's head over to the chart and see what transpired today and what might happen tomorrow. So we're here looking at a daily chart, and we see we still haven't seen a higher high made. So our macro direction is still to the downside, and we have not taken out this gap here. And I think that we have a very good chance of heading down that direction at some point here. So one thing that is interesting though is that we can kind of see that we've busted past the midpoint of that bearish order block, and we closed above it as well. So what that tells me is we have a high likelihood that we're going to head up into this daily imbalance, and this old new week opening gap would be a midpoint, just above midpoint to that area. Right around that area, there's also a bearish order block here. So lots of things that we see for the day tomorrow, but let's jump into the day today and take a look at what happened in today's price action. So as you can see, the past few days we've been going up and going up. Buy or sell stops taken. Price consolidates, sell stops taken. Price makes a higher high, sell stops taken. Price makes a higher high. We are nearing a point where we do see sell stops taken here actually. So and we do see a high, low, higher high forming here. So I would be curious to see if we indeed either take this low, high, lower, low, and then up above this breaker and treat this as a bouncing point to head up to this daily fair value gap. I want us to come back down into this range first. So we see this kind of like fair value gap here. I think I can we can keep these on as reference, but since they are taking up a lot of screen space, both of these have been traded through and closed through with bodies of candles. So what does that mean is left, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to, oops, I didn't want to do that. Okay, not a big deal. I can just copy this one here. So we have this fair value gap on the hourly now, right? We see it's in a, we have a short-term high here, and then a short-term low, a high, a lower low, and then it breaks above this area and closes. So I anticipate we return back to here tomorrow. Chances are that the low or high of the week, by the time Wednesday comes around, 70% chance that it has already occurred. So this weekly candle is going to look like it opened, sold short, expanded upwards, and so I'm thinking we have one more expansion tomorrow, and then we trade back down from there. So that's what I'm thinking for the rest of this week. Well, at least tomorrow. I mean, CPI there's a lot of stuff that can happen with CPI, and there's a lot of liquidity that has been set up over the days. So we can kind of see that in Asia, we've actually started to hit a previous a previous short-term high, a rejection block. So we'll touch upon that in a moment. I want to take a look at price action today. And so let's go down into a 15-minute chart. Okay, so we're looking at a 15-minute chart from today's price action. Okay, so you saw that yesterday's range was from here to here, right? So we saw that we've traded down into a discount. If you take a fib and mark it from low to high, you can kind of see how we've went below equilibrium into this fair value gap, and even this one a little bit, then bounced at the end of the day. I actually wasn't here to trade that, but Asia, continues to hunt higher, creates a London low, and then continues upwards. At 8:45, we see it trade down, but not fast enough and quick enough and low enough to take out this short-term low. So what we're looking for then is, okay, well, do we get a trade anywhere at this peak high level? No, we've rejected once, twice, 3 times there. So now there's a lot of buy side liquidity resting above this area. So with this latest move downwards, we end up taking sell side liquidity all the way down to this sell side liquidity as well. So keep in mind the low here is 15255.25. Low here, 15253.00. So even this low is lower. So I think that today's price action was quite difficult. If you weren't in at the top or bottom, you weren't looking at really key levels, you probably got chopped up. So let's take a look at the 5-minute, see if we can see anything of interest here. Okay, so on the 5-minute, we still see that we consolidated, created a short-term low in London, traded well above that, and hit that consequent encroachment. Remember, I was thinking that was going to be important. If we closed above that, then I would be looking for bullish targets. So what happens here? We get a couple of wicks, and those aren't clear enough to me to signify really strong resistance level yet, right? So these reject once, twice, and then after taking sell side, we kind of see this form, and then it trades down to exactly that, and then skyrockets up. Let's take a look at the 1-minute, see if we can see any of our setups that we would expect. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was still loading for a second. Okay, so again, this is like the 1-minute, same chart. Let's take a look at those peaks. See if there's any sort of evidence that we could take that down. Well, not really here. You see a bearish order block form, but there's no fair value gap. So a little less probable of a trade. We do see it trade down past this fair value gap and past this fair value gap as well. And that would be enough for profit. I actually took this one, but had to stop out early because of the type of account I was trading at the time. But in the future, I will let that run. I promise to myself. So what else happened on the 1-minute? Well, there were a whole bunch of fair value gap imbalances. But when it's a real hurry, get down somewhere like this low, there's no reason why they want to keep that. There's no reason why they want to keep a small position there. So, all right. That's really it. My bias to the upside continuation for CPI. I will wait to see what happens at CPI and see if my thesis is correct. I think that's going to be key. So I think with that, let's see if there's any questions here. No questions in the chat yet. Cool. Yeah, wanted to thank everybody for joining in, listening in. We know where our draw is going to be on the hourly or higher time frame, so we're going to just sit these out. Oops, what just happened here? 15,127.75. Sometimes I drag the wrong thing. Okay. And that is it for tonight. I mean, you know my targets to the upside. Don't really have any other main targets. It's gonna potentially retrace that hourly gap that we kind of looked at earlier. Oh man, I'm so tired. I'm gonna try and get some rest tonight. I've been not sleeping super well, so it's kind of tough to trade well when you don't have enough sleep. But I appreciate all the comments, very kind comments for the video that I made on how to pass Apex accounts, and very, very, very nice comments on the chat today. So really appreciate you joining the live. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you on some more of the lives, and hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'll get to chat with y'all some more. We'll see if there's any plays tomorrow that I can pick out. I think tomorrow is going to be an interesting one because we have a few key levels above us and a whole bunch of key levels below us. So with that, I think that is it for today. Let's see what happens before 8:30 a.m. Remember, there's tomorrow specifically, there are key news drivers. One is Core Consumer Price Index, CPI, which measures inflation, and unemployment claims too. So we'll keep an eye out for those, and yeah, I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning, okay? Let me know if there's any questions. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. See ya.